What's going on, folks? Ted from Nerd Immersion here, and as promised, let's do our deep dive review of MCDM's Illrigger class that is available for purchase now on D&D Beyond. I also double-checked it is available in the character builder. I'm not sure to what extent and how well fleshed out that is, but it is there. I also was brought to my, or it was brought to my attention by somebody in one of the comments that the Illrigger actually existed as a term back in Dragon Magazine 106, where it looks to be a spin-off as a different version of a paladin. Now, I'll be completely upfront and honest, my knowledge of second edition, while it does exist, the concept of the way the classes works and things like that, I'm not well versed, so I cannot speak to this with a ton of intelligence, but we can take a look at that as well, because it is basically the lawful evil paladin. And we've seen other iterations in other editions where they were, usually the paladin is typically lawful good in the most traditional sense. It's not that case anymore, but in a traditional sense, paladin is usually lawful good. But there were other different versions of paladins. Again, the Illrigger seemingly in second edition being the lawful evil version. But there were other, paladins that had different kind of lawful chaotic alignments and things like that we've seen, and now we're where we're at now in fifth edition. You basically pick your oath and you can choose to be kind of whatever alignment that fits, you, if you even use alignment at all anymore. So anyway, if you like this kind of stuff and like what I do here, consider subscribing to the channel. It's a simple click for you. It does a ton for me. Let's go ahead and dive in. So I think we'll just start real quick with the Dragon Magazine 106. So there's a section here kind of called a plethora of paladins, and it has a variety of different other spin-off paladins here. But the one we're kind of focused on here is the Illrigger, right? The lawful evil Illrigger creates for his god a framework of evil in which to operate and subdue key proponents of good. He has crisply efficient assassination skills and maintains a functioning network of followers to precipitate his crimes upon the world. Should the Illrigger ever commit a chaotic or carelessly disruptive act, his church will excommunicate him and he will be forevermore a normal fighter. Prefers weapons and armor darkened metal. Wisdom and intelligence are prime requisites for the Illrigger. So, again, like I said, I'm not too familiar with how these different abilities and things work. Obviously, there's some spell casting here, and it seems like our main focus is going to be sort of controlling other entities. As it mentions, it has a network of followers to precipitate their crimes, and then kind of assassination, roguish style abilities here. So if we jump back, here is the Illrigger Revised, which again, that vibe alone seems to be echoing off of the art. So we read a little bit of this already. Let's dive into the fiction. Again, looking very much like an evil-looking kind of paladin with this whole army of fiends behind them. Okay, we got a lot. Okay, we got like a whole story here about this character. But says after a short battle, 7 heroes from 7 worlds wait impatiently in the library at the top of the Tower of Enchantment. And it kind of gives us this whole backstory, a little bit of a history there. So let's go ahead and dive into... this class contains a subclass called the Hellspeaker, which has themes of mental manipulation and mind control. In addition, the Sanguine Knight subclass contains effects that manipulate another creature's blood. Lastly, Illriggers are typically evil aligned, and even those who aren't still serve evil creatures with dark agendas. So again, consider that. Obviously, you can work this out with your DM and play it however you like, but there you go. The Archdevils who rule the 7 cities of hell scheme endlessly. Each eternally plots to bring the others to heel. The Archdevil's elite operatives are the Illriggers, knights, assassins, mages, and terror commandos of hell. Illriggers command the battlefield, disrupt enemy factions, and carry out their Archdevil's infernal will. Again, obviously, we're leaning into the evil side of things. Maybe you could find a way to play a good aligned one, but that's up to you and your DM. Okay, let's talk quick build. You can make an Illrigger quickly by following these suggestions. First, put your highest ability score in Strength if you want to focus on melee weapons, Dexterity if you want to focus on archery or finesse weapons, or Charisma if you plan to choose the Architect of Ruin subclass. Your second highest ability should be Constitution, then choose the Soldier or Outlander background, and then proficiency in Athletics, Deception, Intimidation, and Persuasion. Okay, so we're getting, obviously, as we talked about with the history, very paladin-esque vibes, and we're seeing that in a lot of the abilities here. we are getting D10 hit die, light armor, medium armor, shields, simple martial weapons, and then constitution and charisma saving throws, and then 2 skills from the list you see there. Okay, multi-classing for the Illrigger, you must have at least 13 in your charisma and either a strength or dexterity score of 13. So again, very similar in a lot of ways to the paladin. Okay, spell slots. If you multi-class and choose the Architect of Ruin, you do. Okay, so that must be the spellcasting one. So here is our class table. We can see we have seals that goes all the way up to 7. We have our seal damage, which starts at a d6 and goes up to 4d6. Interdict boons and infernal conduit dice. There is a lot of mechanics here, and I can see why possibly some DMs probably not going to allow this at their table. It's just a lot. I would say probably not a great call for a brand new player to Dungeons and Dragons, but to each their own. But that is a lot of different resources to manage. On top of whatever your base things are, you have seals, interdict boons, infernal conduit dice, and then again, apparently if you're the Architect of Ruin, you also have spell slots. So potentially a lot to manage, but let's dive in. All right, level 1 feature, Baleful Interdict. You gain the ability to censure creatures with power of hell. Once on your turn, you can place a magical seal, we talked about those seals up above, on a creature within 30 feet. You can either place this seal when you hit a target with a weapon attack with no action, or use a bonus action to place it on a target within range, that range being 30 feet. It lasts for a minute or until burned, which we'll learn about in a little bit. A creature with one or more of your seals is referred to as an interdicted creature. Seals you place are invisible to other creatures, and when you can see an interdicted creature, the seal appears to you as glowing glyphs on the creature's body. You can only place a limited number of seals before resting, and you regain all seals when you finish a short or long rest, so you're getting them back on a short rest as well. The number of seals is in that seal table that we saw up above. If a creature dies, you can use a bonus action to move your seal onto a new creature within 30 feet. So similar to a hex, which is kind of giving me hex vibes already. But each seal's duration continues to elapse when you shift it. So again, similar to hex. Then it says burning seals. When an interdicted creature you can see within 30 feet of you takes damage from any source other than a seal burned by an Illrigger, you can burn any number of seals you place on them to deal a d6 fire or necrotic damage, your choice, to that creature per seal burned. You deal this damage immediately after the triggering damage. Burning a seal doesn't require an action from you, but you can't be incapacitated. Once it's burned, it vanishes. Once you reach 5th level, your connection to your Archdevil strengthens. Each burned seal deals an extra d6 damage for a total of 2d6, and it goes up by a d6 at 11 and up to a total of 4d6 at 20. As indicted in the seal damage column. Okay, that was in the column up above. If you have to make a save, the save is based off your charisma. Okay, so let's try to go back and understand this completely. We have a number of seals in this table. We have a seal damage, which is just telling us it caps out at 20 at 4d6. So you basically are marking, hexing, in this instance, sealing an enemy creature. And you can do this when you hit with a weapon attack. It is not limited to just melee weapon, a melee attack. You can just choose to place one on them with no action of any source of any kind required, which is nice. Or you can just, if they're within 30 feet, use a bonus action to just apply it to them. Now, something I'm noticing, there's no mention of concentration here. So this is just a thing. So it almost functions to some degree like a concentrationless version of Hex or Hunter's Mark. You can only place a limited number of seals, as we talked about. If they die, you can use your bonus action to transfer it over. Again, similar to Hex. When a creature you can see, and they stay hexed for how long? Each seal's duration continues to elapse. Okay. So they each have their own duration, lasts for a minute or until you choose to burn them. It's effectively activating them. So to burn one, you have to be within 30 feet. When they take any damage from any source other than the seal itself, you can burn one of yours to deal damage to them. This happens immediately after the triggering damage. So it doesn't have to be you hurting them to burn the seal. Anybody could hurt them, and you could burn the seal to either deal fire or necrotic damage to them. And then that ends it on them. It also doesn't seem that there's an issue in stacking seals either. So you could stack multiple seals on an individual target and then go through the process of burning them. Which, again, if you're able to stack up significant seals on someone and then other people are attacking, you could just keep burning them to deal extra damage. All right, Forked Tongue. You can speak, read, and write Infernal. In addition, you speak 2 languages of your choice, but you can't read or write them. When you finish a long rest, you can draw on your Archdevil's knowledge to replace one of these 2 languages. When you do, choose another language whose name you know. You magically forget the previous language and learn the new one. Starting at 9th level, this feature grants you an additional language for a total of 3, in addition to Infernal. Furthermore, you gain advantage on insight checks made to ascertain the intentions or sincerity of creatures. I guess that fits with the whole forked tongue concept. You can, again, learn languages to speak them, but not necessarily to read or write them. All right, Combat Mastery. This looks like this might be similar to like a fighting style. So choose one of the following. Bravado. When you're not wearing armor, your AC is 10 plus your dex plus your charisma. You can use a shield with that as well. Brutal. When you hit a creature who is no more than one size larger than you with an attack with a melee weapon, wielding with 2 hands, you can move the target 5 feet horizontally. If you choose, you can spend your movement to move into the space they left. Inexorable, you gain a +1 bonus to saving throws for each hostile creature within 5 feet of you, up to a maximum of +5. Lies, you can choose one type of melee weapon, such as battle axe, greatsword, or spear. When you attack with that type of weapon, you use your charisma modifier instead of strength or dex. Again, so this is kind of like Hexblade. Lissom. When you hit a creature with a melee attack, you can spend your movement to move 5 feet without provoking attacks of opportunity. And Unfettered, when you use your Baleful Interdict to place or burn a seal, the range is now 60 feet instead of 30 feet. When you gain the Infernal Conduit feature at 6th level, the range is 30 feet instead of touch. Okay, we'll have to learn what that is when we get to 6th level. In addition, making a ranged attack while within 5 feet of a hostile creature does not impose disadvantage on the attack roll. That's actually pretty good overall. It gives you quite a bit of stuff there. All right, Interdiction. You can infuse your seals with hellish magical power, enhancing their effect. Okay, that was the Interdict boons that we saw on the outside there. You learn one of those, and there's a table that describes when you learn the additional ones. When you gain an Illrigger level, you can choose to replace a boon with a different one. Excuse me. Some boons allow you to expend unplaced seals to fuel abilities, while others empower all your seals or grant you benefits. Okay, so they might be specific, they might be kind of overall applications. The boon that grants passives or always on features, such as the 2nd level Swift Retribution boon, are marked with a passive tag. Well, that's convenient. You don't need to expend a seal or take an action to benefit from the passive boons you know. All other boons, such as 2nd level Abating Seal boon, must be activated on a turn. For example, by expending a seal, you can activate only 1 non-passive boon per turn. Now, I don't like that we already have to have a clarifying table here, because we're adding a lot of terms here, and we haven't even gotten to 3rd level yet, so I am starting to question the complexity of this class. I don't think it won't be strong. It does kind of give me Blood Hunter vibes as well in like a general sense, but let's keep going. So burning a seal is part of the main gameplay loop. The Illrigger places a seal by using a bonus action or hitting somebody and burns the seal for additional damage. Many boons activate when you burn a seal. These burned seals deal normal damage to the creature in addition to any effects granted by the boon. Other boons instead require you to expend a seal. In this case, the Illrigger expends an unplaced seal. Okay, there we go. All right. Diabolic Contract. This is your subclass, where we'll see either aspect of Ruin for Asmodeus, Hellspeaker for Moloch, Painkiller for Despater, Sanguine Knight for Sutek, and Shadowmaster for Belial. And you get those features at 7, 11, and 15. You also get Invoke Hell at level 3. Your chosen Diabolic Contract grants you 2 Invoke Hell options and describes how to use them. When you use your Invoke Hell, you can choose which option to use. You must finish a short or long rest to do it again. Some Invoke Hell options. Oh my god. Okay. It's just a lot, right? So we've got seals, we've got boons, we've got Invoke Hell. It just feels like a lot of stuff. You're going to have a lot of resources to track. Ability score improvements are the same. Extra attack at level 5, nothing different there. Infernal Conduit. This is another thing. You can strengthen your allies at the cost of yourself or drain your enemy's life force for your own gain. You have a pool of Infernal Conduit dice, which are D10s. The number of Infernal Conduit dice in your pool increases as you gain Illrigger levels. We saw that in the column. As an action, you can touch another creature and expend one or more dice from your pool. The target must make a Constitution saving throw against your Interdict save DC. Creature can willingly fail this saving throw, roll the spent dice, and choose one of the following effects. Invigorate. On a failed save, the target regains hit points equal to the total you rolled, and you take necrotic damage equal to the total. It's almost like a life transference. On a successful save, the target regains half as many hit points, and you take necrotic damage equal to that total. Save or fail, this necrotic damage can't be reduced in any way, and if the damage reduces you to 0 points, you fall unconscious and are stabilized. Or you can use Devour. On a failed save, the target takes necrotic damage equal to the total you rolled, and basically the inverse. You're dealing damage and gaining health versus healing someone and taking damage. You regain hit points equal to that total. On a successful save, the target takes half as much damage. You regain hit points equal to the damage they took. Save or fail, if the target chooses to fail their saving throw against this effect, the necrotic damage can't be reduced in any way. When you reach level 11, the target also gains a level of exhaustion on a failed save. And then you regain any spent conduit dice when you finish a long rest. So let's see how many dice we end up getting with our conduit feature. Okay. We start with 3 at level 7. We go all the way up to 10 at level 19 for our Infernal Conduit, which are D10s. So we're going to have our 3 to 10 Infernal Conduit D10s, which is essentially like lay on hands life transference style, where you can give somebody health, but you take damage, or you can deal damage to somebody and give yourself health. I actually kind of like that as a concept for like an evil paladin, which again feels Illrigger-ish, but like instead of like lay on hands, it's like a lay on harm essentially. Instead of where I can just touch an ally to heal them with lay on hands, I could do the same thing but deal damage. It's kind of like the same concept as like cure wounds harming undead kind of a thing. So I like that. Like I said, you have 2 invoke hell options, which we'll have to look at. And then we have to figure out what the extra seals and interdict boons are. All right, blood prints at 10. When you fail a saving throw, you can spend one of your hit die, rolling it to add a number roll to the result. Okay, that kind of reminds me of the fighter Indomitable to some extent. So it's only triggered on a fail, and you're spending your hit die to just add to the result of the save. If I was going to try to keep this more in line with 2024, I'd probably say something like the hit die is only expended if it turns it into a success. Feels 2024 in its nature, but Terrorizing Force at level 11. Your attacks are empowered with Devastating Might. When you gain this feature, choose a damage type: cold, fire, necrotic, or poison. When you hit with a weapon attack, you can deal an extra D8 damage of the chosen type. Okay, you can choose a different damage type when you finish a long rest. So similar to a traditional Paladin's improved Divine Smite, you're just dealing an extra D8 of damage type when you hit with a weapon attack. Again, you're getting this sort of in place of a fighter who would get 3 attacks at level 11. You're just getting extra damage dice. So you're actually going to be somebody else like a Paladin who will benefit from some way of gaining more attacks superficially, whether that's haste or otherwise, whereas usually a fighter would benefit from things that will improve their damage because they already have so many attacks, so consistent damage over time. All right, Superior Interdict. Damage from your seals ignores resistances. In addition, you can use a bonus action to regain a seal if you have none remaining, once per long rest. Okay. Infernal Majesty at level 17. As a bonus action, you channel the Might of Hell, gaining the following benefits for 10 minutes. Resistance to fire, cold, and necrotic damage. Wings with a flight speed of 60 feet. When you use your blood price, you can cause an enemy you see within 10 feet of you to take damage equal to the number rolled on your hit die. Blood price was for your healing, okay, or for your saving throws. When you hit with a weapon, your Terrorizing Force deals an extra 2d8 instead of 1d8. For the duration, if you die, you can choose to have your body disappear in a burst of flame, leaving behind only your equipment. If you do, your body reforms a d6 days later somewhere in hell. Once your body reforms, you return to life and regain all your hit points. Once you channel your Infernal Mastery, you have to wait until you finish a long rest to do it again. And then lastly, at level 20, we have Master of Hell. You learn to tear rift to hell. As an action, you can summon a hellstorm centered on a point within 150 feet of you, which fills a 50-foot radius sphere. It chooses one of the following effects. Inferno. Hellfire rains down. Each enemy in that area must make a dexterity saving throw or take 5d10 fire damage plus 5d10 necrotic, and they burn for a minute. On a successful save, they take half damage and don't burn. Creature burning repeats the saving throw at the end of their turn, taking a d10 fire damage plus a d10 necrotic damage on a failed save, or ending the effect on a success. This cannot be extinguished by non-magical means. We have Pestilence. A foul miasma swirls around you. Each enemy in that area must make a con save. On a failure, they take 5d10 poison and 5d10 necrotic, become poisoned for 1 minute. Success, they take half damage and can't and are not poisoned. Or Darkness. A bitter storm assails your foes. Each enemy in that area must make a con save, taking 10d10 cold damage on a failed save, half as much on a success. Additionally, the storm's gloom persists for a minute, and then any enemy in that area is blinded until they leave it. Once you activate Hellstorm, you have to finish a long rest to do so again. Okay, so that's the base class overall. Now we're getting into the various options within the base class. So we have our Interdict boons. So that they have basically tiers. So we have second level boons. A baiting seal. When a creature you can see or an ally within when a creature you can see damages you or an ally within 30 feet of you, you can expend a seal as a reaction to reduce the damage taken by the target by an amount equal to a d10 plus half your Illrigger level rounded down. Okay, so you're going to basically burn one of your seals to reduce the damage for you or an ally. Bedevil. When you burn a seal on an interdicted creature, you can activate this boon as no action. So you've already put a seal on them, and now you're going to burn it for the extra damage. This kind of triggers automatically. The target must subtract a number equal to your proficiency bonus from the result of the next saving throw they make before the end of their next turn. Well, that does mean that you're going to have to hopefully have somebody queued up to trigger a saving throw. Otherwise, that is not super beneficial to you. Soul Eater. When you burn a seal on a creature, you can activate this boon for no action to gain temporary hit points equal to your Illrigger level. That seems like a pretty solid one to just have the temporary hit points, because seemingly like burning seals is part of your pretty common gameplay loop, so getting temp HP for that is pretty nice. Styx's Apathy. When you burn a seal on a creature, you can use a reaction to flood the target with otherworldly chill. Until the end of the target's next turn, they can't take reactions. I don't love that one. First passive one here. When an interdicted creature provokes an attack of opportunity from you, you can make that attack without using your reaction. Ooh, provided you're not incapacitated. Once you perform this boon, you can't do so until the start of your next turn. So essentially, it's giving you an opportunity attack for free, still retaining your own reaction for whatever you'd like to use it for another opportunity attack, perhaps, or spells, or what you might have. And this is once per turn. So passive seems to be the name of the game when I'm looking at this, personally. Although Soul Eater is pretty nice. All right, level 7 boons. Acheron's Chains. When you use a bonus action to place or move a seal on a larger, smaller creature, you can activate this boon as with no action. You conjure Infernal Chains to grasp the target, forcing them to make a strength save. On a failed save, you can either pull the creature 10 feet towards you or cause them to be grappled until the end of your next turn. Grapple's a little bit stronger in 2024, but I don't love grappling. But again, you're already doing the process of placing the seal or moving it. So getting the freebie potential grapple or pull is nice, but not for me. Conflagrant Channel. When you expend a seal as a bonus action you can expend a seal as a bonus action to teleport up to 60 feet. So a little bit stronger than a Misty Step at the expenditure of one of your seals. Eyes of the Gate. As an action, you can expend one or more seals to attempt to bind your awareness to a creature within 60 feet. Target must make a wisdom save, or they can willingly fail. On a failed save, you are bound to the target's awareness for a number of hours equal to the number of seals you've spent, or until you use this boon on another creature. For the duration, while the target is within 300 feet of you, you can use an action to see and hear through their senses, gaining the benefit of any special senses the target possesses. You continue to use your own action to return to normal senses. While perceiving, you are now deaf and blind. Additionally, for the duration, you can place seals, burn them, and use interdict boons as if you were in the creature's space. I don't love that one. I mean, maybe for a little bit of the shared vision, but that one's not for me. Shadow Shroud. You can expend a seal to weave a mantle of semi-solid shadows around yourself. The target gains a +2 to AC for a minute. That one's pretty solid to me because it's a non-concentration shield of faith, essentially, which is pretty nice. Unleash Hell. When you burn one or more seals on a creature, you can use your reaction to unleash an explosion of hellish energy around them. Each creature of your choice within 5 feet of the target must make a dex save. On a failed save, they take the same amount and type of damage as the seal dealt to the creature. So that one's not too bad. Kind of like a little bit of a AoE off of when you go ahead and unleash this explosion. Vengeful Shot. When a creature makes a ranged attack against you or an ally within 30 feet, you can expend a seal to make a ranged weapon attack against the attacker. If it hits, it deals extra damage equal to half your level rounded down. It's all right. All right, 13. First, another passive here. This is Onslaught. Each time you use a bonus action to place or move a seal, you can make one weapon attack as part of that bonus action. No brainer. That's a great one. You're already doing your part of your gameplay loop, and you get a freebie attack. Love that. Flash of Brimstone. When you place or move a seal, you can activate this boon for no action to magically teleport to an unoccupied space you can see within 5 feet of the target. Depending on how you're running your character, that might be useful. Hellish Frenzy. When you start your turn within 30 feet of an interdicted creature, you can expend a seal to become frenzied by the power of hell until the start of your next turn. While frenzied, your movement speed is doubled. You have a +2 to your AC, and you can make an extra attack when you take the attack action. So it's essentially giving you haste. But again, non-concentration. Hellsight, just spend a seal to get True Sight out to 60 feet for an hour. Never going to be upset about having access to True Sight when you need it. When you hit an interdicted creature with a ranged weapon attack, you can expend a seal to create a weak point in their defenses. Till the end of your next turn, the target takes a penalty to AC equal to your proficiency bonus. It's not bad, but it's weird that it's limited to only range attacks. Iron, I don't know how you pronounce that. Gall? I don't know. As an action, touch a creature and expend 4 seals to attempt to send that creature to hell. The target must succeed on a charisma saving throw or be pulled through a rift into the prison of your Archfiend's infernal city. If the target is native to hell, or if their level or challenge rating is 4 or lower, they remain there and must find their own way out. Otherwise, the target remains in that prison for a minute, at which point they reappear. So it's essentially like a banishment spell, but it costs 4 of your seals. Last word, when you're reduced to 0 hit points and have unplaced seals remaining, the Hellfire in you refuses to die. You can expend up to 3 seals and release an explosion around you. Roll 3d6 per seal expended. Each creature of your choice within 30 feet must make a dex save. On a failure, they're going to take fire damage equal to the total you rolled. On a success, they take half damage. If the explosion damages at least one creature, you regain a number of hit points equal to the total you rolled, which is pretty solid. So that one's kind of nice. This reminds me of the Celestial Warlock, where they have the ability to do like a big AoE and then also heal themselves. And lastly, we have Soul's Doom. When you use a bonus action to place or move a seal, you can scorch the seal into the target's soul. For 1 minute, whenever that creature takes damage, they take extra damage equal to your proficiency bonus. Again, that may not sound like a lot, but over time, persistent damage, and it's whenever they take damage for a minute. So that just means you and any of your allies damaging this creature, it's going to get extra damage equal to your proficiency bonus. That's a lot of extra consistent damage. Okay, now we're rolling into... Wait a minute. Did we skip something? Hang on. Class features. Invoke Hell. You gain choose contracts to invoke Hell. When you invoke Hell, choose which option to use. You must first finish a short or long rest before you can do it again. Some invoke Hell effects require a saving throw. Did we see? I see... Is that... Okay, because I see that we talked about invoking hell. We talked about the Interdict boons, which are all of these. But we didn't talk about what the invoke hell options are. Oh, your Diabolic Contract grants... Oh, that's odd. That at level 3 you get an ability, but it's in your subclass? I don't know. I don't love that. I would have just put it in the subclass rather than put it in the main class. But yeah, okay. So we'll learn about those in a second here, which we finish a short or long rest. We get them back, and we get 2 of those. Okay. Diabolic contracts. First up, Architect of Ruin. Okay. Architect of Ruin, level 3. Okay, so we are getting up to level 4 spellcasting, so this is going to add even more stuff to track. You're going to gain proficiency in Arcana, History, Nature, or Religion. In addition, you can also read and write languages granted by Forked Tongue. Here we have our spellcasting, cantrips, spells known, and spell slots. There is a spell list presented here. Okay, charisma based. Invoke Hell for this class or subclass. An enervating spell. When you deal damage with a creature with an Illrigger spell of first level or higher, you can expend a seal, no action required, and imbue this spell with weakening magic. Target has vulnerability to the spell's damage. If they normally have resistance or immunity to the spell's damage, the resistance or immunity is suppressed for this spell, and the target has vulnerability to the damage instead. Wow. Being able to just grant vulnerability is wild, but you have 2 of those per short rest. Or Spellblade, you can use an action to make both a melee attack and cast an Illrigger spell. That's actually also quite powerful to be able to do an attack and cast a leveled spell at level 3. Pretty solid. Hellish Versatility at 7. Once on each of your turns, you can cast one of your Illrigger cantrips in place of one of your attacks, granted by your extra attack feature. So potentially invoking Hell, you can make a melee weapon attack and cast a spell at the same time. Or maybe that's just, your action to do that at the same time. Whereas Hellish Versatility is allowing you to replace one of, it's basically the same thing, but without using Invoke Hell, where you're replacing one of your, you can cast one of your cantrips in place of one of the attacks. Oh, so it's only limited to cantrips. We'll have to see. I don't even know what the cantrips are at this point. All right, level 7, Asmodeus' Interdiction. Once you learn an Interdict boon granted by this feature, you always know. Oh, so it's a freebie. Okay, so you have Axiomatic Seals, which is a level 7 passive. Asmodeus Secrets allow you to infuse your seals with manifest power. When you burn one or more seals to deal damage, you can activate this boon to add your charisma modifier to each seal's damage roll. Okay, that's just a nice little bit of static damage. Oh, these are just given to you. You don't have to try to learn these. All right, Spellbreaker at 13th. When an interdicted creature you can see within 60 feet of you casts a spell, you can use your reaction to burn one or more seals on them. When you do so, burning the seals deals no damage. Instead, you cast Counterspell on them without expending a spell slot. Your spell's level increases by 1 for each seal you burn after the first. Again, good, but not as good in 2024 given the changes to Counterspell, but either way. And at 18, you get Hellmage. When you or an ally within 30 feet of you succeeds on a saving throw against a spell or other magical effect imposed by an enemy, you immediately place one or more seals on them up to a number equal to your proficiency bonus. That's actually really nice as a passive. Just succeeding on a saving throw and getting to auto-apply seals is pretty solid. Level 11, we get Submit. When you cast an Illrigger spell, you can burn 2 seals to impose disadvantage on the saving throw, so sort of meta magic-y. And then lastly, Vial of Transmogrification. You uncover 2 new ways to employ Asmodeus' magic. Regaining seals. As a bonus action on your turn, you can expend 1 spell slot to regain a number of seals equal to your slot's level. Or kind of something similar, regaining spell slots. As a bonus action on your turn, you can spend any number of seals to regain a spell slot of a level equal to 1/3 that number. For example, you can expend 6 seals to get a 2nd level spell slot back. And then once you do that, you can't do it until you finish a long rest. And here is our list. They do not get Eldritch Blast, which I'm a little surprised by, but they do get Hellfire and Vengeful Blade, which are new cantrips that we'll look at in a little bit, along with some of these other new spells here like Hell's Lash, Infernal Challenge, Mode of Hell, Aura of Desecration. Now we move into the Hellspeaker class. Okay. You get proficiency in Perception or Persuasion or Deception. If you already have it, you'll get Expertise. In addition, your Forked Tongue feature grants you an additional language. Whenever you speak in a language gained by this feature, your devilish influence is subconsciously felt, giving you advantage on charisma checks. Charm Energy. When you use your bonus action to place a seal on a humanoid, you can attempt to charm them. The target must succeed on a charisma saving throw or be charmed by you for 1 hour until you or your companions do anything harmful to them. While charmed, the target regards you as a friendly acquaintance. When it ends, they know you were charmed. When you use this bonus action, you can additionally burn 1 or more seals on one or more interdicted humanoids within 30 feet of you, attempting to charm them as well. After taking the damage from the burn seals, each of the target must succeed on a charisma save or be under the same effect. You can use this feature charisma modifier times per long rest. So all of that is still level 3, and we haven't even gotten to the Invoke Hell ability. There's just so much stuff. These classes are very meaty, and I think even in the world post 2024, I do feel like some of these may be a little on the OP side. All right, Invoke Hell. Honey Sweet Blades. When you make a weapon attack against an interdicted creature, you gain advantage on that attack. If it hits, it's an auto crit. Damn. Okay. Turncoat. As an action, you wield Manipulative Tongue against your enemies. Choose any number of enemy creatures up to your proficiency bonus within 60 feet of you that can hear you. Each target must succeed on a charisma save or use their reaction to make a melee weapon attack against a single target of your choice. Man, AoE, number of enemy creatures up to your proficiency bonus. Yeah, AoE like Commander Strike, but enemies can attack enemies. That's crazy. All right. Moloch's Interdiction. These are the boons you get. You get Red Cant at 7th level. When you make a charisma check, treat any roll of a 9 or lower as a 10. Slippery Ploy. When a creature targets you with an attack roll or other magical effect, you can place a seal on them as a reaction and force the creature to make a charisma saving throw. On a failed save, they must choose a new target. Okay, that's cool, so just redirect. And then Incontrovertible at 18 is a passive. Disadvantage. Interdicted creatures have disadvantage on wisdom and charisma saving throws. 11, you get Intransignet. You and each creature of your choice within 10 feet are immune to the charmed condition. So basically like a paladin, Oath of Devotion paladin's immunity aura. Let's Make a Deal at 11. As a bonus action, choose a willing ally within 60 feet. Once within the next 10 minutes, that creature can choose to gain advantage on one attack roll or saving throw and add a bonus equal to your proficiency bonus to the same roll. If that attack hits or its saving throw succeeds, the creature gains temporary HP equal to your Illrigger level. If the attack misses or the saving throw fails, the creature has disadvantage on the next attack roll they make or saving throw they make. Disadvantage can't be canceled in any way. A creature can only strike one deal at a time. This is proficiency bonus times per long rest. And last ability for the Hellspeaker is Quid Pro Quo. As an action, you can attempt to banish a creature within 30 feet. They must make a charisma save. On a failure, they're sent to the Wastes of Hell for a minute. Target banished in this way can repeat the save at the end of each of their turns. Additionally, when a target is banished in this way, a devil jurist or a horned devil appears in their place. The devil acts as an ally to you and follows your commands until the banished creature is no longer banished, at which point the devil disappears. Okay, so you get to send them to jail, banishment, but with a devilish overseer for a minute. That could be pretty cool. And then again, that's once per long rest. Okay, next up we have the Painkiller here. Let's scroll down. All right, level 3. You get proficiency in heavy armor. I was wondering if we had a heavy armor version, so that's this one. As well as Devastator. As an action, you can invoke the authority of Dissipator. You make a melee weapon attack and choose a number of willing creatures up to your proficiency bonus within 30 feet of you. Each creature you choose can use a reaction to make... Oh, God, at level 3? This is brutal. So, as an action, I make an attack, and I choose a number of creatures equal to my proficiency bonus. So, at 3, it's 2 creatures. Each creature you choose can use a reaction to make a weapon attack or cast a damage-dealing cantrip with a casting time of an action. So, basically, I'm hitting you, and then choosing, at this point, at level 3 anyway, 2 other people to make an attack or cast a damage-dealing cantrip, and that is once per short or long rest. That's not even an Invoke Hell. That's just a thing I can do once a short rest. I mean, if we're talking level 14 characters, your proficiency bonus is 5. I can make my attack and then command 5 other willing creatures to also use their reaction to get an attack all at once. Talk about ganging up on a single target. All right, their Invoke Hell abilities are Grand Strategist. You can order your allies to follow your information. Choose one or more creatures within 60 feet of you can hear, up to the number of creatures equal to your proficiency bonus. Each target can immediately move without provoking attacks of opportunity, half their speed. Or Punishment. When a creature damages you with an attack, you can use your reaction to force the attacker to make a wisdom save. On a failed save, they take necrotic damage equal to the damage they dealt you. Dissipator's Interdiction. Here are our seals for this one. Telekinetic Seal. When a creature you can see moves within 5 feet of you, you can use your reaction to place a seal on them. When you do, the target must make a wisdom save or be pushed back 15 feet or knocked prone. by the throat when you use a bonus action to place or move a seal on a creature who is no more than one size larger than you. They must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be restrained. That's pretty solid because restrained is a pretty powerful condition. Or dissipate or supremacy at 18, a passive. Oh, wow. If you have a creature sealed, you crit on an 18 through 20. Granted, that is a level 18 ability, so your champion fighter is going to have it a little bit earlier, but still, that's pretty solid. You die on my command. When an ally within 30 feet of you drops to 0 hit points without being killed outright, you can use your reaction to shout an order at them, causing them to drop to 1 hit point instead. You can only do that once per short or long rest. And then lastly, Death Strike. When you hit an interdicted creature with a melee attack, you can use your reaction to burn a seal to turn the hit into a crit. You can just auto crit. When you do, also double the damage dice you roll for the burned seal. Oh, you should, because it's okay, either way. Use a reaction a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. Damn. Proficiency bonus times per long rest auto crits? Okay. Currently, the Painkiller is my favorite so far, but we still have 2 left to go. So next up is the Sanguine Knight. Exsanguinate. Whenever you burn 1 or more seals on a creature who isn't a construct or undead, you can choose an ally within 30 feet. That ally gains temporary hit points equal to the damage dealt, basically siphoning life from them. Sutek's Blessing. Let's see. You gain proficiency in religion skill. In addition, you expand your awareness of life around you until the end of your next turn. You can sense creatures who have blood within 120 feet of you without having to see them. The ability can penetrate most barriers, but is blocked by 1 foot of stone, 1 inch of common metal, a thin sheet of lead, 3 feet of wood or dirt. You know the distance direction of each creature as well as the creature's type, and you can use a feature proficiency bonus times per long rest. Your Invoke Hells are Embolden Ally. As a bonus action, restore a number of hit points equal to 5 times your Illrigger level, divided however you want. Okay, that's kind of like a Cleric Preserve Life, so that's a nice little quick heal. Or Vitalize. You can flood your allies with Invigorating Vivacity. For 1 minute, each creature of your choice within 30 feet of you gains a bonus to ability checks equal to your proficiency bonus. All right, and our specific seals we get here are boons. We get Foul Interchange. As an action, choose a creature you can see within 30 feet of you and expend a seal to end one of the following conditions: blinded, charmed, dazed, deafened, frightened, paralyzed, or poisoned. Another creature you can see within 60 feet of you must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or suffer the same condition until the end of your next turn. If a creature is immune to the condition, they don't suffer it, but the condition ends on the original creature. Okay, so we're basically Condi cleansing one of our allies, but we're transferring the condition to an enemy potentially, which is really nice. All right, Sanguine Gift at 13. When a creature you can see within 30 feet of you regains hit points, you can expend a seal and regain hit points, and the creature regains additional hit points equal to your Illrigger level. So this is a way for you to just juice up somebody's healing, giving them an extra, at this point, 13 hit points. Or Blood for Blood, your level 18 passive. When an ally takes damage from an interdicted creature, the interdicted creature takes necrotic damage equal to your proficiency bonus. That's not like a huge one. That's not like my favorite passive, but it's not bad. It's death by 1,000 cuts. Bloodstroke at level 11. When an ally who has temporary hit points from your Exsanguinate feature is hit by a melee attack, the attacker takes cold fire and necrotic damage equal to your Illrigger level. That's very nice. I do like that, having just the ability to, and you don't have to expend anything. It's just if you've given somebody temp HP, you're basically giving them almost Armor of Agathis in a way, but the damage is equal to your Illrigger level. And then I think it's called our Hemel exchange. You have mastered the ability to enervate enemies. When an interdicted creature within 60 feet of you makes an attack roll or saving throw, you can use your reaction to burn a seal and transfer their power. The target must roll a d8 and subtract the number rolled from the triggering attack roll or saving throw. You then empower an ally within 30 feet. The next time an ally makes an attack roll or saving throw, they get to add a d8. So it's essentially like a silvery barbs, more or less, to some degree. And lastly, we have the Shadowmaster, marked for death. Seems to be like the rogue one. You have advantage on your first attack against an interdicted creature on each of your turns. Oh, on each of your turns. So just advantage on your first attack every time. Strike from the dark. You understand the power of striking from shadows. Once per turn, when you hit an interdicted creature with a melee weapon attack, or you have advantage on the attack roll, you can roll a number of d4s equal to your proficiency bonus and deal extra damage equal to the total you rolled. The damage increases by d4 if the target is in dim light or darkness. So yeah, so this is essentially the rogue, except they're giving you like minimal lists of d4s as your kind of sneak attack, which is your strike from the dark. Your invoke hell options are disguise self on yourself without expending a spell slot, or no escape. As a bonus action, you call on shadows to entrap a creature within 30 feet. Must make a charisma save. On a failed save, the target's speed is halved, and they can't willingly move more than 30 feet away from you. The effect ends if you die or incapacitate. It's almost like a, let's see, bonus action, trap them if they are on a failed save. Yeah, so it's almost like a lesser version of a slow effect. All right, Belial's Interdiction. This is your extra boons here. Veil of Lies is a bonus action. You can spend a seal to become invisible for 10 minutes until you cast a spell or attack. Hell's Assassin is a passive. When you roll a 1 or 2 on a die to determine the damage of your seals or your weapons against the interdicted creature, you can re-roll and take the new damage roll, or take the new roll. Dark Malediction, also another passive at level 18. Interdicted creatures radiate darkness in a 10-foot radius. Mundane sources of light can't illuminate them, but creatures with dark vision can see through it. If any of the darkness overlaps with an area of light created by magic or psionics, the overlapping area of darkness is illuminated by the light. Umbral Killer. You gain dark vision out to 60 feet. If you already have it, you get an additional 60 feet. Your movement speed goes up by 10. You have advantage on stealth checks. And when you make a dex saving throw to take only half damage, you instead take none if you succeed and half on a failure. So you're basically getting evasion. And then Doomed to the Shadows at level 15. The extra damage from your Strike from Dark feature increases to a number of d8s equal to your proficiency bonus. And you deal an extra 2d8 damage if the target is in dim light instead of a d4. So they're really at 15, jumping it up to basically be d8 sneak attacks almost. Sneak attack dice. In addition, when you deal damage using Strike from the Dark, you can use your reaction to burn a seal, causing them to be blinded for a minute. So I do like the breadth of how these are spread out. You kind of have your wizardy one, you have sort of your bardic one, your kind of paladin fightery one. I guess you could almost call the Sanguine Knight almost like healer-esque because they do have healing. And then Shadowmaster is your more sneaky assassin rogue type. I do think Painkiller is my clear choice for winner. All right, then we have some new spells here. Aura of Desecration. I think this is basically the opposite of Aura of Life. 30-foot radius. Until the spell ends, the aura moves with you. Whenever a creature of your choice enters the area for the first time on a turn, they must make a con save. On a failure, they take 46 necrotic damage and can't regain hit points until the start of their next turn. So that's almost like almost like a Spirit Guardians, but with a healing suppression, which is pretty solid. All right, Hell's Lash. This is who can cast that one? Clerics and Paladins. Hell's Lash is usable by Sorcerers, Warlock, Wizards, 30-foot range. You lash a whip of crimson energy at a creature you can see, creating a conduit between you and the target. Must make a con save or take 44 fire damage and be tethered. A tethered creature takes 2d4 fire damage at the beginning of each of its turns. They can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of their turns. For the duration, if the target is an interdicted creature, you can use your reaction to burn one of your seals on the creature. When you do, the creature makes their next saving throw at disadvantage. If you upcast it, the initial damage increases by 2d4 for each slot above first, and the subsequent damage increases by a d4 for each... Wait. When you cast this spell with a second level spell slot, the initial damage increases by 2d4 for each slot above first, and the subsequent damage... Oh, okay, that's this. The initial damage increases, and the subsequent goes up by a d4. Okay. Hellfire, which is a cantrip for Sorcerers, Warlocks, Wizards, out to 120 feet. The target must make a charisma saving throw or take a d4 fire damage and a d4 necrotic. Those increase its cantrip scaling levels. This is an interesting one. So it's a little bit less overall damage, right? Most you're going to be able to do with a single one. Single strike is 8 damage if you roll double 4s, but you are increasing the damage floor and you're spreading the damage type out. So I like it. Infernal Challenge. Paladins can do this as a bonus action. You offer a creature a compelling challenge. If you have no allies within 5 feet, choose a creature within range who can see and hear you. You must succeed on a charisma saving throw or answer your challenge. Or say they must succeed on a charisma saving throw or answer your challenge and fight you. For the duration, you gain a +2 bonus to your AC. The target has disadvantage on attack rolls against creatures other than you, and the first time the target tries to move away from you on a turn, they must succeed on a charisma save or their speed becomes 0. The spell ends if you end your turn more than 30 feet away. That's a pretty powerful debuff and buff for you at the same time for a second level spell slot. We have Maligned Weapon for Paladins here. Bonus action. You imbue your weapon with an Infernal Blessing until the spell ends. The weapon extinguishes any mundane sources of light. It does an extra 2d6 necrotic damage. If the weapon isn't already magic, it is now. As a bonus action, while holding it, you can expend... you can end the spell early and cause the weapon to emit a burst of dark energy. Each creature of your choice that you can see within 30 feet must make a wisdom save. On a failure, take 46 necrotic and be frightened for a minute. So this is, what is that? Holy Weapon has a similar function to this. We have Moat of Hell, a Sorcerer Warlock Wizard level 3 spell. You manifest a Pocket of Hell, a 15-foot radius sphere of darkness, brimstone, and blasting heat appears. The cloud of hellfire echoes with the cries of damned souls. That can be heard out to 30 feet. No light, even magical light, can illuminate it. The cloud warps space-time, making the cloud's area difficult terrain. Any creature who starts their turn in the area takes 3d6 fire damage. A creature who ends their turn in that area must make a wisdom save or take 3d6 psychic damage. So it's an initial fire damage from the moat and then subsequent psychic damage. If you can lock somebody in place, you can really just rack up the damage over time. Vengeful Blade is another cantrip for sorcerers, warlock, wizards. You brandish your weapon used in the spellcasting to make a melee attack against a creature within 5 feet. On a hit, this target suffers the normal effects and then radiates a dark aura of energy until the start of your next turn. If the target makes an attack or casts a spell before then, they take a d8 necrotic damage and the spell ends. And these extra d8s increase as you go up. But the melee attack also does additional necrotic damage, similar to the like the Booming Blade and the Green Flame Blade spells. So the initial one just they'll take that extra damage while they radiate that dark energy there. If they make an attack roll or cast a spell before the start of your next turn, they'll take that d8 necrotic damage. At cantrip scaling levels, you're going to get an additional d8 on that initial effect, and then an additional d8 on that subsequent effect. Wall of Death. Druid Sorcerer Wizard. You create a wall of necrotic energy on the surface within range, 60 feet long, 20 feet high, 1 foot thick. The wall is opaque. When the wall appears, each creature in the area must make a con save or take 48 necrotic damage. One side of the wall, selected by you, deals 48 necrotic damage to each creature who ends their turn within 10 feet of it. The creature takes the same damage whether they enter the wall for the first time or end their turn there. Whenever a creature takes damage from the wall, you can use your reaction to gain temporary hit points equal to the amount of damage dealt. So, that's an interesting one. I think, which was my favorite? I think Hellfire, the cantrip, might be my favorite, although I do like the whip. And Aura of Desecration is just a great AoE damage. Then we have retainers here. We have some stat blocks for a variety of different characters here. We have some items as well. We have 2 items here. True Name, which is a weapon. It says, this weapon is ornately decorated with elegant details in brimstone and obsidian. This requires attunement by an Illrigger, by the way. The typical True Name, an uncommon item, empowers an Illrigger's baleful Interdict. Whenever you roll an 18, 19, or 20 on your attack roll with this weapon and place a seal on a creature, you can place an additional seal on that creature. Oh, wow. So if you happen to be the Painkiller, you could be critting and then also being able to place additional seals. More powerful versions of True Name grant the additional following properties. Rare, it is a +1 weapon. It does an extra, and the damage dealt by your seals increases by a d6. Very rare, it is a +2 weapon. Seal damage goes up by 2d6. And when you reduce an enemy to 0 hit points, you can choose to regain a seal. Once the seals regain this ray, you can do so until the following dusk. Or legendary, it's a +3. The seals deal an additional +3d6 damage. When you reduce a creature to 0 hit points, you regain 2 seals and get temporary hit points equal to your Illrigger level. Again, that's once until the following dusk. And then we have Blood's Bane, which is a potion. This oil is deceptively clear. To unlock the oil's power, an additional component must be mixed in. The component may have already been added, or the oil user can acquire an unmixed oil and then add the part in as they see fit. The oil can coat 1 slashing or piercing weapon or up to 5 pieces of slashing or piercing ammunition. Applying the oil in this way takes 1 minute, during which time a willing creature must offer to drop 1 drop of their blood, mixing it into the oil to activate it. A creature hit with a weapon or ammunition coated in this oil must make a DC 15 con save or suffer an effect depending on the oil's special component. In addition, if the creature fails the saving throw and the blood in the oil came from an Illrigger, the creature has a seal placed on them by the Illrigger. The seal doesn't count against the number of seals that you normally can place. We have Mentha Arvenis oil. The target is under the effects of the Zone of Truth spell for 10 minutes. Nightshade oils, they're paralyzed for a minute. Bloodhound Fur, the creature who offers their blood to the oil knows the direction and distance to the target for 24 hours. Or Rose oil, the target's under the effect of Charm Person for an hour, where the creature is charmed by the creature who offered their blood in the oil. And that was a little bit of a long one, but that is the entirety of the Illrigger revised review. We can go ahead and take a look at building one of the classes here as well. So if we go ahead and we'll just go up to level 5, we can see again, we're going to choose our proficiencies, no problem. And then we're going to choose Forked Tongue. It's going to give us some extra languages. We'll take Deep Speech and Undercommon. We get our Combat Mastery feature here. I don't remember what these all do, but let's see. We'll be unarmored if we want. Oh, this one lets us use our charisma instead of strength. We'll take that. We have Interdict boons. We get to choose a boon that we want. I think Swift Retribution was a pretty solid one. And then we're going to take the Painkiller, because that was a really cool one. And then obviously we have our ability score. So it looks like everything that I picked there all seemed to be working. I know some people said stuff wasn't working. Again, we're going to have to go through and pick all these other random things. Species. Just go human. Ability scores. Standard array, I guess. I don't know. We're going to put a boasting charisma. A little here, a little there. All right, there you go. So we're using charisma for our attacking stat. And I think we can just leave the rest of that. Can we take a look at the character sheet now? Yeah, all right. So it works pretty well. Everything seems to be, available and easy to see. Here you can see burning, necrotic. So everything's there. So that, to some extent, I'm sure there's stuff that's missing. But from a quick glance, most of the abilities and features and traits and things are all present, which does hopefully mean that if you do decide to play one of these, it'll be easy for you to track all of the little resources and currencies that you have to track for your class specifically. So, I don't know. It seems like a lot. It seems like it could potentially be overpowered. It does let you pretty much do everything that almost every other class does to some degree. Not to say it does better, but in some instances it might. I like it. The evil aspect of it does make it feel like it would fit good, obviously, in an evil campaign, which is definitely something that, I've done before. I've played in. They're interesting, but they also can be hard to manage. And I think an evil campaign, is arguably easier to manage than an evil character in the party with a bunch of good characters. But let me know your thoughts and opinions on the Illrigger in the comments down below, and I'll see you all next time.